Hello and welcome everybody. Och Kalinichta. We're back in Midgard. We're back in Alba, and I'm happy to welcome Aisling, daughter of Alba. She is back. And basically, just to summarize where we're at, you have found out that your dad entered into a pact with a demon that helped him gain large parts of land that didn't belong to him, but a different clan. He also murdered his best friend, married that best friend's girlfriend, who is your mother. She has killed herself because she found out what was going on, and she also killed her son, probably because she realized that there was this pact going, which meant that whoever was going to take over was going to inherit the demon pact and would have to sacrifice somebody that was dear to them. So she tried to save everybody, but that didn't quite work because she never thought that you would be drawn into this. You have, in the meantime, decided not to take the mantle at all. You have been ousted. You have been sent away from your clan, and then you've decided to go traveling and visit the place that your mother is from, and that's where we are almost at tonight. You have traveled the length of Alba from the very north to the very south. You have gone through the forest of the hags, where you did meet a couple of women who asked you, they said that they were going to answer you a single question. And you didn't ask about how to get rid of the sigil or what to do about your nemesis, Samuel, and or his father, whom you've also met, who's also a demon. But you asked if they could tell you if Siobhan was going to make it home safe one day. And the answer was one day. You also encountered Celine's, really lovely people with horns and kind of like a lot of fur. They live in the woods and they hosted you. They gave you apples, they gave you food. They're very nice. And then you also met gnomes who are interesting. And they were also very kind, but they couldn't invite you in because their houses are just this big. And then you encountered a lake. And you looked into the lake, and the lake kind of did something to you. It made you look like young Aisling and young Siobhan. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that this is the mirror of the hags, and usually it shows people what they most desire, things that they would kill for. Usually people don't see themselves. They were quite surprised that you saw yourself as a young person, but they didn't really reveal to you what that meant. But you kind of didn't really want to dwell on that lake. You basically asked Siobhan to keep moving, so you never found out much about it. And then, after about 7 days of travel, you have reached the edge of the forest, and you're now outside the forest, and in front of you is a vast expanse. It's like a steppe, kind of low grass, no trees. You suddenly see the sun again. You see the white clouds racing across a blue sky, and in the distance you see a huge mountain range. That's the Nyktoros, and that's the mountain range that separates Alba from Chrysaea. And you can tell because now you left in April, so it's now mid-May, mid to late May, and they are still covered in snow. So although it's very warm where you are, they are probably so high that it's still snow up there. And you know that if you keep following this road, you will get to a mountain pass eventually that will allow you to cross that mountain range and then enter Chrysaea, which is to the south. Mm-hmm. You've got two horses, Percy, short for perseverance, a little bit of a stupid one, but good-natured, and that's the Siobhan's horse. And then you've got Storm, and we know how you met him. He was so cute and wobbly, and he is the best. He's a war horse, and he loves you. And you've known him since he was a foal, actually, since he was a couple of months old, and you've been inseparable ever since. And the two of you canter towards the mountains. Now, you did get some provisions that you took with you. You were given food by the Celines, and the gnomes didn't really have any food to share yet because they hadn't been able to harvest. It was too early in the year, but they gave you plenty of fresh water, so you have enough. But you know, and you believe that it'll probably take you about 3 to 4 days to get to the mountain range. And then in order to get there, you would still have to do some hunting. But you are now really good at kind of like, you know, snaring, you know, one or the other rabbit. You are probably quite happy that there are no more lakes. You've passed the Lake District, so now there are no fish that you could catch. So it's now going to be hunting. You only have one eye. That's the one thing that people need to remember. So shooting is now not sharpshooter anymore, but just normal.
Yep.
And you keep riding. And it's actually now a really big change because for the first time in 7 days, you're actually seeing the sun in the sky. And it's a lovely day. But the sun is beating down because now there is no cover. And so you ride. And as it's time to basically make camp, you look around for a place, but you realize that it's kind of like all open steppe. So it's not like there is any shelter. So whatever you do, you need to do in the open.
Okay.
So what do?
We stay where we are and set up a little camp.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm quite sure we would probably try or see if we do not need a fire, or leave the fire on only for a short time, because the fire and the smoke clearly will attract people even more. Be it the light, be it the smoke. So if we have rations that we can eat in a cold way, doing that, and if not, then only doing a fire for a short time and turning it off again.
Yeah, you've got cured meat because even in the forest you didn't really turn on the you didn't really build a fire because of, you know, it's a forest. You don't want to scare the trees. And that's not a problem at all. And yeah, so you spend the night. Do you set watches?
Yes, definitely. Okay. When we're here, we have no idea what animals or what people are behaving like. So, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then we can all roll on Constitution.
God, now I need to relearn the character sheet. Das müsste K.O. sein, gell?
Mhm.
Oh God, it's successful, definitely.
Yeah. And it's successful for her as well. I think she rolled a 2 on 21. That's cool.
I rolled a 77 against an 87. So
there you are. So you both. Yeah, she's super lucky as well because her co is actually only 21. She's really.
That's low.
It is very low. And basically the night passes without incident. But now it's like really nice because there is no moon, so it means that the stars shine all the brighter, because there is no other light. And you can see a couple of, you know, like sometimes, you know when the Milky Way starts to move because you can actually see it if you look long enough. So it's, the sky looks very different from where you are from simply because it's now so southern. So there isn't this constant kind of like gray skies that you would know from the north. So it looks very different. And yeah, so you keep traveling and we can actually skip this. So the next couple of days you keep traveling and it's completely uneventful. You see one or the other hare. You can hunt if you like. You can give me, do you want to snare or do you want to actually use your bow and arrow?
I think we... I would probably try bow and arrow just to keep a little bit in practice, and if I fail, then in the evening we will set up a little trap.
Okay, then give me a roll.
Let me see. We said it's not sharpshooter anymore, right? It's just normal.
It's just normal. Yeah, but you don't get any negatives for that one.
No.
Nope.
Nope. That is a miss.
So it went wide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then in the evening we would set up a trap that maybe we can catch.
Okay, try survival.
And see how that goes. Where is it? There it is. No.
Oh, what a pity. You don't catch anything. Okay, so the next day you keep going. And then on the third day, you reach the foot of the mountain. And it is a barren mountain. And it rises up completely steeply. It's like a wall. But at the moment, the path is still rideable, so you won't have to lead the horses, and you basically climb. And you notice that you notice that there are some small trees once you make it a little higher, but they are different from the ones that you would know. They are stunted in growth, and they are kind of, they look very different. And you hear lots of woodpeckers. So this tock, 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 tock is omnipresent.
That's nice. Nice.
Yep. And every so often you can also see them fly up when you approach a tree and you're kind of like in the way, or you kind of impinge on their territory. They just fly off, and they then basically land on the tree and they give out to you. You know, they don't like this. And yeah, so you keep traveling, and it's hard work because it is steep. It goes like this, so serpentine way, but it is tough. Now we actually notice that Percy may be stupid, but he is very sure-footed because he actually manages to do this quite well. But after a while, Siobhan decides to dismount because she feels uneasy, because she feels that if she fell, she would probably just fall down the mountain. She would slide down, and she doesn't feel like risking it. So she starts leading the horse, which doesn't make that much of a difference because even on horseback you're pretty slow because you can only walk.
Yeah, I would do the same because just to make sure that nothing happens to Storm or then to me as well. So I think we would both walk and lead our horses carefully to make sure we all get through this in one piece.
So the first day ends. You need to find shelter. Now you are on the mountain, on the cliff face, really. So there's this, behind you is the wall, next to you is the abyss, and you're on this path. So how do you want to handle this?
Well, there is no way to find a place to hide or anything like that.
Well, roll survival.
Because we would at least see if there's a nook like in the cliff or anything, at least to be a little bit safe. Also from weather, because I could imagine that wind and anything is now easy to get you, and it would be nice to tuck in a little bit. No.
Siobhan obviously was looking slightly differently because she did find something. She has found a little bit of a, well, it's not even a cave, but it's more like the wall protrudes a little bit. And you could probably get some shelter from the wind, and if the horses were standing in front of you, it would probably be quite warm, because what you have noticed is it is getting a little colder because now you can feel the wind blowing. Okay.
Let's do that.
Okay, did you bring anything that you could set on fire, or are you keeping the... because you didn't really collect any wood when you were in the forest because you were afraid of the forest?
I don't think really we would have much wood there. We would maybe have 2-3 smaller sticks and kindlings that we can just use, but we would not use them if we don't urgently need to. So I suspect another day without warm fire in front of us. Also, the horses will be quite close to us, so fire might also not be the best idea.
You said watches?
Yeah.
Okay. On your watch, you feel that the horses are getting uneasy, so they're getting restless.
I would slowly stand up, not to wake up Siobhan, and would walk over to Storm, just put my hand on his head or his neck, just to... And probably whisper to him, like, what is it, my friend? And trying to listen around, or because I highly doubt I will see much, although it must come from the left or the right side, because on the one side there is not much, except it can fly probably, or it would drop from above. It's the question how high the cliff is up.
If there was something up, I mean it's pretty steep, so
Okay. So probably from left or right.
yeah. Now I'm wondering, what was perception again?
Let me see.
Because it does exist. It's you just roll a d20 for me, please.
Just a d20.
What did you get?
12.
Okay, so now we need to check what your Wahrnehmung is. It's on the right. It's under Fertigkeiten, actually. That's a bit weird, because there is something on the right.
I have 6 points.
Okay, so you don't hear or see anything.
Nope.
But after a while, the horses are really getting restless. And now you can hear the tap, tap, tap of footsteps, of paws.
Pause.
And then you can see eyes glowing in the dark at about 80 centimeters height. And it's 3 pairs.
And the horses will not be more calm, I suspect.
No. And you've seen those eyes before.
Yeah, it's wolves.
It's wolves. What do you do? They sniff.
I will pull out my sword. Just like, does she have a sword or is it another weapon? No, she has a sword.
You have a sword,
and
a beautiful one too.
Yeah, and would stab through the horses basically to stand in front, so I can hear from which side it's coming. So
yeah, and you can see them. Yeah.
And then I would, in a very loud voice, just basically yell at them, make myself quite present, and yell at them. You better not get closer if you want to keep your pelts.
Okay.
And I would make sure that there is light through the stars. I would make sure the sword is visible. So I will turn it a little bit, that it glistens a little bit, that you can see the light from the stars at least breaking.
Okay.
And I will try to give myself all the angry, I will fight you energy that I can muster, because so basically remembering the fights against wolves that I had before, because I know that animals at least also can feel presence.
They can. Okay, so basically that was successful. They don't just turn tail. They are too proud, but they kind of growl at you one more time, and then it's almost like, you know, lads, let's just find someone else to mess with, and they leave.
Okay, I'm quite sure Siobhan is awake now, probably with a heart attack.
Yeah, no,
because
she's awake. She's like, what happened? More gnomes?
No. The more wolf-like guests that we do not want to have.
Wolf-like? or wolves?
No wolves.
There I thought this was some kind of human-wolf hybrid, although that wouldn't exist.
No. It's yeah. Well, maybe that would make sense because they turned around after they heard me.
Yeah, you must have scared him. I mean, I woke up, you were yelling.
Yeah, that's the only way. You need to scare them. If not, they will come closer and then you have to fight. And I don't want to fight wolves here in this tiny spot with 2 horses and no.
Yes, because the last time you encountered a wolf, and she points to her eye.
Well, no wolf will get the other one, believe me. Go back to sleep. It's all settled. They're gone. Sorry to wake you up, but there was no way
That's
to settle
quite all right.
in a silent way.
She goes back to sleep, and then it's her turn to wake.
Yeah, I would have surely, when we hand over the watch, I would have told her on which side the wolves were, that she can at least try to listen and peek, and also, although she knows that, to just make sure to see how the horses behave as well, because the horses basically warned me that something is coming.
Okay.
And then I will curl up and sleep.
You curl up and you sleep. The next morning she wakes you, breakfast is ready, you keep going. And then you actually, after a while, you reach a place where you notice it's beginning to get quite cold. Really cold. And you can see also that now there is some snow every so often. You know, those little snow patches that you sometimes see in the mountains. And then, for the first time, you see something you have seen goats, because goats exist where you are from. Yeah. And you do have mountains, but the highlands are nothing compared to the Alps. And you see a sight that you've never seen before. It's almost like a perpendicular to the ground cliff face, almost like this. And you can see goats. It is unbelievable. It's almost like they're licking the stone, and that's probably what they are, because what they're doing because of the salt that is in the stone. And it is incredible to behold. It's like they are glued to the side of the mountain. And Siobhan actually stops and she watches and she says, "This is incredible."
I think Aisling would have a similar reaction, just to stop as well and just stare and more study, because she has not seen that, and just getting an idea on how on earth are they doing that.
And Siobhan actually voices this question: how do they not fall?
They must have very strong hooves and muscles there to keep balance like this, because they don't have much to stand on.
No. And they actually they also move every so often to the side, and it's like they're really, this is incredible.
I bet they can jump quite high.
Probably.
That would be helpful to be able to do that.
Let's not try.
Oh, I'm not doing that. That's
good.
Not...
I know that face.
We don't have to be scared of them. The only thing that could happen overnight, that if they do a misstep, they will drop on our head. Because they fall off the cliff, although I highly suspect they will not be probably out here during night.
So you actually you look at them for a while, and then you keep moving, and then you come to a corner. It's like a bend, and it's almost like a 180 bend, and in front of you you see that the path is crossed, or crosses, depending on how you look at it, a waterfall. And it's like a big one. It's like really white as well, and there is spray, and the spray basically is like little rainbows. And the sun is reflecting off of it. So what do? You need to get across this somehow.
Should we first of all have a bit of a look at, maybe have a few minutes rest and then enjoy this, because it's really quite pretty.
Yes, it is very pretty.
So we are at the end point of the waterfall, right?
Yeah, so basically the path leads to this. So this is the end of the path. Here is the waterfall, and then the path continues on the other side.
So
it basically flows over the path. You can see that the path basically goes beneath the waterfall, so the path there is completely wet, of course, as well.
I think we will take a bath, don't we?
Well then.
But I think we should lead the horses, not sit on them.
Yeah.
I'm quite sure both of them will not enjoy this.
Okay, let's see what the horses say.
Yeah, so we would lead them quite close and holding on to them just to make sure that they're
Actually, they are both kind of like not moving very well. So what do you do?
trying to be very nice. Maybe pull out a little, I don't know, like a piece of sugar or something like that. So really like a little treat, and see if we can bring them through. And just in a very calm voice, talking, scritches between the ears, just like, I know this is not fun, and I know it's effing cold, but we need to get through. The path is on the other side. You can do your war horse. And just trying that, and I would probably share a similar idea then with Siobhan if she can't get her horse moving. A little bit of sugar might be the way to go.
Well, bribery works on those two. You've seen this in the past, and you managed to get them across. But if you just offer them one piece of sugar, they will start to rebel. They want to see the real stuff. Do you give them an apple?
I will probably, based on we will need to be careful with our rations, each would get half an apple.
They
And
raise their eyebrows.
I would explain, because she's treating a horse quite like a partner, and would be like, we have no idea how long we need to keep going, so half an apple it is. If we get out here and we have apples left, you will get the rest.
Yeah, you can tell that the two of them have a little conversation between horses, and then they kind of go, okay, but we will remember this, buddy. And then you keep walking, and then it gets really steep. But what you can also see is that you're approaching kind of like a saddle in the mountain, and you believe that it means that on the other side it's going to go down.
Which is good. So when it's getting very steep again, we would not ride, but we would lead the horses.
And you basically then at some point cross, and now you've really reached a place where you can see it's snowy everywhere. So besides you are two peaks, so you're not actually crossing over the peak, so it's really like between two. But now it's really, as you cross, what happens is you're now on the southern side. So now you're facing the sun, and the sun is reflecting off of the snow that's there now. And that is actually very bright on the eyes. So, and you also notice that looking and seeing is actually a little bit difficult, especially for you, because you only have the one eye. And then at some point, Siobhan says, well, how are we going to survive the night? Because now it's really cold.
We need to, yeah. And here there are no trees. I would highly suspect nothing.
Yeah, there is snow.
Well, I guess in the snow we need to see that we can get really the snow a bit down, that we have like a mulde. My brain is not functioning in English. I'm very sorry for listeners. And make sure that we lie right next to the horses and put the blankets also over the horses and just need to cuddle together. Because we don't have much stuff to do with fire, especially not every night.
Yeah. So you do that, and
that's at least what I can think of.
And then you go to sleep.
Although we would make watches anyway.
Yeah, you
that
said
one
watches.
stays awake.
and it is freezing. It is a terrible night that the two of you are having. The horses are not as bad, but they're also not really happy. So the next day, you notice it's kind of like you're very stiff, your joints crack. It's
I think
bad.
for the horses, when we start, I think I would take the time to give them like a little massage, just to see that everything, to rub them very well, that at least they are getting warm. And honestly, Aisling would do a little warm-up sport, so like jumping a little bit, arms up and down, and she would tell Siobhan to join just to get warm again.
That's a good point. That's a good idea. Yeah.
To get everything back into movement. Maybe also for the first bit to walk next to the horses, just to get
the circulation going.
Yeah. And I think when the sun comes out, it should get warmer. At least I hope so. In the morning.
It does. And you're very lucky because it's another sunny day, and you walk on, and then you go down the mountain. And this side seems to be a little less steep than the other. And pretty soon after, you actually start seeing a lot of growth. And you see trees like you have never seen before. And you also start to smell things you've never smelled before. So I'll give you what you smell. It's like rosemary. And also frankincense. So basically the sap of those trees, of the southern trees. And the smell is very, very different. It's like you're entering, you have crossed kind of like a really important natural barrier, and now the vegetation is very different. So, and you descend, and it's actually the first day, the descent is actually quite quick, and it gets warm quite quickly. And then night falls. Night falls a lot quicker than you're used to.
I think here, since we have wood and a bit more, Aisling would at least have the idea that we find a place where we can make a small fire at least to have this. I think it's more warmth for the soul than really needed. And maybe make a tea or see if with what we have we can do a little soup or stew or something like that.
And you do that. And as you watch, you see at some point enter into the circle of light a black snout, and then you see a face, and it's black and white, and you see a badger, and it sniffs, and then it walks past you near where Siobhan is lying, and it starts to burrow and to dig. And obviously there was kind of like a nest of snails or something, because it's starting to chomp down on them, and they are very messy eaters. So it's very loud.
I'm fine that it's loud. I will clearly with one eye see, because badgers can be really ugly if they feel like you want to hurt them. But at the moment, Aisling will just let them do what they want to do, as long as they not try to get closer to Siobhan or attack her. But at the moment it looks quite peaceful, so it's more cute and entertaining.
Yes, it is. And I mean, I didn't realize, but badgers are actually quite long. I mean, they're not really small creatures. They're huge when they're grown.
They're big.
Yeah. So it's a fully grown specimen, and he obviously is eating his fill, and then he basically walks on.
I think in not a very loud voice, you would be like, "Have a good night, sir."
And he doesn't reply, but you're pretty sure that you have made a friend. Then you wake Siobhan.
Yeah.
And then she watches. And let's see. I mean, let's try this. If she can manage to get her act together. On a 95, no way. She's not meditating. This whole thing of listening, and this is all nonsense. She doesn't really know how you do it. And then you wake up the next morning. You keep descending.
Mm-hmm.
And then, after several hours, it's late afternoon, you see something you have never seen before. And you don't really know what you see. Because in the distance, you see the sun sink. But it looks like it's sinking into a purple... It's like you have the horizon that is red. And then the sun is sinking into something that is completely purple. Dark purple. You have never seen this before. Anything like it.
I think for Aisling it would be just stopping, staring. With a whoa.
What do you think that is?
I have no idea. Because even I as player have no idea. So
Okay, it shall
Aisling has no idea because I
all
don't know.
shall be revealed. So you go to sleep again, you set watches, you may build a fire. Nothing happens on your watch. But you can now roll on your luck.
Is there luck?
Yes, you wrote it down. Yours is 60 something, I think, 67 or so.
I don't have it in here. Did I? I'm not a good player. I'm not well prepared.
Okay.
Let me see. No, that's someone else. A different character that for sure has no luck. I will just... It's then 100, right, that I need to roll?
Yeah. I just gave you luck, and that is so low that it's even worse than Alice's luck. Yeah, 29 is not much better. So roll a D100 and let me know what you've got.
I rolled a 55, which is...
Okay.
Okay.
You sleep. You sleep. And you wake up the next morning to breakfast. And you ride. Now you can easily ride. And now the mountain is basically turning into foothills. And now you can also see that there are trees that you're riding amongst. And there are little black berries on them. Do you pick one?
I would pick one. I'll probably like squeeze it between my fingers just to also sniff how it smells.
So the first thing you notice is it's got a stone inside. And do they actually smell like something?
I have no...
Do olives
because I know
smell?
what it is. I think they
actually
smell.
But they have a very faint smell. It's not like...
Yeah, it would not be like just squeezing a strawberry or blueberry.
Yeah,
or something.
or a lemon or something. It's not very intense, yeah. But so
No.
you do smell something. It's more like an... Well, I mean... Basically, it's also not very squishy. So it doesn't... You know, when you... There isn't a lot of juice coming out. So it's more of a dry thing.
I think it's for me at least, it's a kind of earthy smell.
Yeah.
Maybe more in that direction. Because for sure, not sweet.
No.
I've no idea. I've never seen that before.
What is it?
Well,
okay.
No.
Okay. Can we eat it?
I also don't know.
She picks one and bites into it. Ow!
Sorry, it has a stone in... Are you crazy just to bite into something? Do you want to get poisoned? I have no idea how to heal poison. Well, you're still breathing? Your tongue feels numb?
My
Everything-
tongue feels no. No, it
No,
doesn't.
the question... I'm just
No,
trying
no.
to see. Everything...
It's fine.
You still can see me clearly? No double side?
No, I mean, it's enough that there's one of you. I don't think I could handle two.
Rude. Understandable, but kind of rude. I think Aisling would also pick another one, and she would just take a careful like nibble because she knows the stone is in the middle, so she would try to just nibble at the edge and just.
It's an olive.
Interesting.
I actually like them. She picks some more, but this time she carefully actually makes sure that she doesn't bite down on the stone.
Aisling does not really look like it's interesting literally because she never tasted something like that before.
No.
But it's not a taste where she's like, oh god, I need more of that. It's like,
Not your thing?
not my thing.
Okay, let's get going. New ride. And again, you see the sun, and it's setting in a purple something.
What is this purple something? Can you see more? So Aisling would really try to concentrate and see if this purple is, if she can see any kind of details. Like, is it fluid? Is it plants? Is it, because I highly suspect it's plants now, since my brain slowly started to turn its wheels on where we are.
Actually, you were right the first time. It's more fluid.
Okay.
You can see that the sun is getting reflected on it.
Questions looks, does it more look like lake or like water?
It well, you've never seen this before. You're actually looking at the ocean. Aisling has never seen the ocean before.
Didn't we have ocean on our
No.
part of the world as well?
Well, not where you traveled. You've never
Okay.
seen the ocean, yeah.
That
You've
looks
heard of
like-
it. You know that it's to the east of Alba, and that the that your ancestors came through it, from it, in ships. But you personally have never seen the sea.
That's
You've
a
never
lot
seen the sea.
of water.
And the color.
Well, that's far enough away.
What now?
I'm not sure how I would feel if I would stand in the middle of that.
Well, I mean, you don't usually stand on water. You
well,
sink.
You have a ship under you, but still.
Oh, I see what you mean. Well, no, we're not gonna go on a ship.
Yeah, no.
Nah.
Let's find a place.
You can find a place. It's not a problem at all. And
We again would make a fire, because here, at least Aisling is like, if someone finds us, then slowly it's like it is. At least here we have more space. We are not a cliff edge. And fire helps at least against wolves and things like that, because they usually don't like fire. So they really just come close if they're really desperate and very hungry.
And here it is, now you're surrounded by fragrances that are unfamiliar. You also hear cicadas for the first time. And you see little glowworms flying around. You know those, you've seen those before, but cicadas you haven't heard because they don't exist in the north. And it really is very warm. But the warmth is kind of different because there is always a wind coming from the sea. And the next day, you encounter your first human. But first you encounter a flock of sheep. They are being herded. Some of them have bells.
We would wait politely.
And then you see a small boy, well, maybe 10 years old. And he looks remarkably like you in terms of he's got the darker skin that you have, Olive. Not he's a lot darker than you are, but this olive skin is there. But unlike you,
I did not much.
no. But unlike you, he has very brown eyes and very dark hair. I mean, your hair is brown, but his is black. He looks at you and he says something in a language that you don't understand.
Aisling will just shake her head and just move her shoulders up, but just wave at him. See, hoping that waving is a common thing, people know what it means.
Siobhan just basically says in Albi, hello, and also waves, and then he just he nods and he smiles, and he keeps moving with his herd of his flock of sheep, and he herds them. What do you do? Do you follow? Do you just keep going on your way? Because he actually crosses your path.
We would just move along our way.
Mm-hmm. And then on that day, you actually see the first dwellings. So the houses are made from stone. They look a lot like your houses. So basically, people found stone, they just cut it to the right size, and then they just built dry stone walling. And then you again see the purple sea, but this time it's very close. You believe that tomorrow you will get there. Do you want to go to a dwelling? Do you want to spend the night outside?
Aisling would prefer to stay the night outside. I'm not sure how Siobhan is seeing that.
Well, Siobhan will just follow your lead, because it is actually quite nice sleeping outside. It's warm. And yeah, it's nice.
And so we would make a little camp, clearly making sure that the little fire we are setting up is not exploding and spreading.
And burning down the olive trees, because you are surrounded by olive trees.
So we would look for a patch where the olive trees are not as close, and really with stones and so on make sure that it's really not going anywhere. And would do the night and take watches.
And the next day you wake up and you keep traveling, and now you come to a village, actually. And in this village you see houses, you see people walking around, and you can now make an intelligence check.
The answer is no.
By how much did you miss?
A lot.
Okay. You notice nothing. Except that the people look a lot like your mother. Also, you know her from the painting, so the skin tone and the dark eyes and everything. And then you come to a house. I mean, people look at you, and people don't talk to you, but they do look at you because you look different, because you are wearing a kilt. You wear very different clothing. You have a lot of weapons. You have horses. You haven't seen a single horse yet. But then Siobhan says, have you noticed that there are no women?
I suppose
You haven't.
she is the question. No, with or
No. You haven't been paying attention.
No. What a weird place. I think Aisling, while we go through the village, she would try to smile a little bit and just nod at people, just to hope that this is something that maybe understand.
They do nod back. They don't really smile at you. And then you come to something that looks like a tavern. By all counts and purposes, this must be a tavern, because there are tables outside. The door is open, and it has something possibly writing on it, over the door, but you're not very, I mean, you can read you can read, But you can't read this language.
Yeah, because I suspect it's the same that we heard spoken and did not
Yeah, and
understand.
it also doesn't look like your alphabet at all. It looks very different.
Okay.
So the two of you, do you go inside?
I think at least Aisling is hesitating. She would look at Siobhan. I have no idea what we can't do anything here. We are safer out there just traveling and look.
But I mean, we can't just.
But we can't communicate with these people.
But how are you going to communicate with the people of your mother because they speak that same language? By the time we get there, we still don't know anything about this place. How are you going to talk to them?
I honestly did not think about that.
Go on. We've been outside for so long. I would really like to see an inside now. Maybe get washed up.
I had a waterfall.
That was days ago.
I know. I think Aisling would get off the horse, but honestly, she would shove Siobhan to go first.
Hey,
I'm the scary looking one.
that is true. With the heart of a sheepdog.
Scare people with just, I look like a pirate.
She looks at you, and then she basically, yeah, like a really dirty pirate.
Well, we have been on the road.
Mm-hmm. So how about you stay here with the horses and I go inside?
Okay. Are you sure we should not go together? I don't want them to snatch you.
Snatch me? What do you think this is? Pirates?
I don't know. You also don't know.
Yeah, but I mean... But what if we go inside and they snatch the horses?
See you in a bit.
She walks in. She stays away. Time passes. 10 minutes. 15 minutes. 20 minutes.
Aisling will stay with the horses. At least for a little longer. And she will, in between, look around and have a look at the people that are here, just to at
Well,
least study how they look, how they what kind of clothing they're wearing, and trying to find women.
Okay, so basically, what you notice is it's mainly men. They all wear sandals, which is not a surprise in the really warm air, and they mostly wear kind of like a tunic, and they have like a cord around their midst as their waist as a belt kind of thing. A lot of them have really curly hair, dark eyes. They are all a lot less tall than you are.
Okay.
You would say that some of the men are actually not even as tall as Siobhan, and she is small. And at long last, you do see a woman.
Elderly?
No, actually, she looks quite young, maybe 20.
Okay.
And what are you actually looking at? This is most distracting.
I am trying to find, because at the moment I'm just like, I have no picture in my head how Aisling is looking, because I have no picture from Aisling. I have nothing, because you said brown hair, and I was like, why on earth do you have brown hair?
You have brown hair and green eyes because that's what you said.
I have not written that down.
Oh, okay.
I have nothing there, and I'm struggling to get Aisling visualized in my head because I have a clear picture of Siobhan, how she's looking, but I have
That's
no
interesting
clear
because
picture
I have
of
no
Aisling.
idea. I have no idea what Siobhan looks like, but I know what Aisling looks like.
I have a picture of Siobhan. You picked a picture as an example.
I did. Oh wow. Well, I mean, there is a picture of Aisling, of course, because that's
sorry for everyone, but I'm a very
it's
visual
like, who
person.
are we today?
And it's driving me crazy that for this character I really have no picture in mind. I know she's tall and well the one eye thing. So that is homework for me to work on that for sure because it has been so long. I'm quite sure when we did last time the game, I definitely had a picture, but I never took time to write it down or any. I have nothing. I have no pictures. I have nothing.
This is what she looks like.
Ah. That at least part of an idea how she could look fits.
Yeah, and where you can't see the green eyes, but you picked the fact that she has green eyes. So basically, yeah, she has like, she looks like a Celtic warrior dress. Yeah.
Thank you. That helps.
Because I noticed when you were that you were really trying to find something and look for something, and I was like, what could we do? Because it looks like this is important. Because I noticed from your face that you were desperately looking for something.
Yeah, but okay. Now that there's a point to go from, and then I will make a little bit more and also take time to write it down.
Yeah. After a while, so basically the woman is kind of like 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And make a spot hidden. Take a good look. Wahrnehmung.
Ist für Wahrnehmung. Hey! Success!
Okay. You notice, I mean, she's got long hair. You notice that she's got a part of her ear is missing. It's like somebody cut off her ear.
Well, so either she was mistreated, she had an accident, or she's a warrior. 3 options.
To you, she doesn't really look like a warrior.
Never underestimate people.
What was your success? How much did you actually get?
26 in the end.
Oh, that's a then
20,
that
23?
was a
No, 23. Okay. Sorry, 23.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it disappeared already. What I
Okay,
wrote. 20. Yeah, 23.
What you do notice as well is she looks very thin. Not slender, thin. Almost like somebody who doesn't get enough to eat.
I will make sure the horses are tied up. We'll tell Storm if anyone approaches, bite, kick, make noise.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I will go towards the door to enter where Siobhan went in.
And as you walk in, Siobhan walks right into you and she says, "Oh, I was just gonna get you. Look, that man over there." And she points to the man behind the bar. He speaks our language. This is a bar.
Did he explain why there are no women?
I didn't really ask. I just said hello and basically booked a room. His name is Philemon. Philemon, this is the friend I've been telling you about. This is Aisling. And he looks at you and he smiles and he says, "Any friend of Siobhan's is very welcome." And then she looks at you and he looks at you and he says, "Oh, prasina matja."
I rolled a 20. on Menschenkenntnis.
Oh, wow, that's okay, yeah.
Because it's basically like, in D&D I would yell inside.
Inside, yes.
Inside check!
Yeah. Okay, so what are you trying to find out? If he's genuine?
If he's genuine, it's a little bit seeing if her gut feeling is saying this might be okay, or if her gut feeling is warning her, because she is very distrusting in people.
Yes, you are. This man owns a tavern, so he needs to be friendly if he wants any custom. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing professional friendliness, but you're not seeing any vibes, or you're not getting any vibes that this is in any way weird. He smiles at you, so he basically wears also a tunic, but his one is more dark, and he's got like an apron as well. He says, your friend here said you would like some water and some bread.
Yes. She would turn to Siobhan. Do you ask if we can stay here for the night? No,
Yes.
it's just a tavern.
No, we can. We have a room for the night.
Do we have
And we're gonna
a place for the horses?
Of course, I do. And then he says, do you want me to stable them now, or will you be taking them out later?
No, let's give them a rest. But I would like to bring them there myself.
Of course. And then he turns
They're not
around
used to strangers.
and he says, Idomenios, and then a child walks in, a boy, and he talks to him in this language that you don't understand, and he points at you, and then the boy nods, and then he walks around, and he looks at you, and then he doesn't know really what to do, and he just takes your hand, because he talks to you and you don't react, so he just takes your hand and leads you outside. Do you go with the boy?
I will go with the boy. I think a child generally is the one thing that will not make her like, oh, I don't trust that kid. So that is definitely, she will just follow him.
Mm-hmm. And then he sees the horses and he's kind of like excited, and then he points to the horses, and then he does this, like, follow me, and then he unties one of the horses. You get to choose.
I will
which
make
one.
sure I'm standing next to Storm, because Storm
Okay.
will not be happy about someone else. And I will also make sure that both horses know everything is okay, and we will just give them a nice place to stay.
And then he takes you around, and then there is a stable. And there is a donkey in there.
I will greet the donkey.
And then there is oats and basically, and then there is water, and he puts water in the trough. And then he basically, you can tell, you know how children are, they kind of, you know, they are nosy, they are curious. And then he keeps looking at you. And then
Aisling will... I'm quite sure she will recognize that, but she will not really follow that road. She will just first of all focus to rub the horse down, or horses down, both of them, make sure that they are fine. Probably seeing that from my backpack, I can hopefully maybe at least one apple, maybe two, just to give them what we promised them to get. And making sure that they are happy.
then you can see that the boy is dying to talk to you. And then he points at your good eye, and he says, Prasena Matja.
Aisling.
And he points to his eye. Prasena. You can tell that he's kind of getting a little bit, you know, like frustrated. Then he does this motion, runs out, and comes back with grass, basically some blades of grass, and he holds them up and he says, Prasena.
Green. You mean green. Yes.
Prasena Matja.
I'm quite sure on her kilt or somewhere there's green as well.
Yes,
somewhere
there
on
is.
there, because
Yeah.
that's her collar. So she would point to that collar and just nod at him.
Prasena.
She's not even trying to form the words, I think, at the moment. I think for Aisling, everything that's all. She is really unsure how to deal with all of this. She never thought as far as what happens when we get here.
He smiles at you broadly. He now believes that you are best friends, or at least that you can understand. And then he keeps talking.
Aisling would just smile and nod.
And then he points at himself, Idomenios.
Aisling. She will point to herself. I think that's the little part that she would understand because she heard his name before. So
And
he
he kind of tilts his head a little bit. Aisling. And he smiles at you. And it's like a child, an open child smile, like really.
I think in a low voice she would whisper as well and repeat his name to make sure that Idomenios she can also pronounce halfway decently.
And he smiles. And then he points to the door and he does this motion like somebody,
I'll give a last scritch to Storm and then go into the direction where the door is to get probably back inside.
You go back inside and there is Siobhan talking to someone else.
Aisling will just probably stand a little bit by and just watch.
And then she sees that you're there and she waves at you and she says, "Come on, Aisling, sit down. He also speaks our language."
I will very carefully sit down next to her, and I think Aisling will move between to look very big and intimidating, but then telling herself, you don't have to intimidate people here, and she is...
The man that you see is old. So you would say he's probably in his 50s, 60s. He's got grey hair. And he's got a lined face. And he puts out his forearm for you to shake. And he says, Amphion.
Nice to meet you.
So, what brings you here?
Aisling is hesitant, as everything at the moment. A family business.
Ah, family business, yes. But it is far away from your home here.
Close to the home of my mother.
Oh, your mother. Where is she from?
Around here? Maybe we will see. The thing is, I have, as I said, it has been ages, and I had no time to prepare anything. I don't even know where her mother was from.
She's from Monophrastos.
I would not even able to say that.
Siobhan says it for you. Monophrastos. That place breeds tough woman. And he looks at you.
Well, I was not bred there. We're from the north. Not surprising.
So I say. No, but you do look like some of them. We call them thigh flashers.
Aisling will just try to memorize and fail completely in memorizing that, and will just nod.
At that moment, Philemon comes with the food and he says, Amphion, I want you to treat my guests well. Don't tell them stories. And Philemon says, and Amphion says, I'm just telling her the truth. She's here for her mother. Her mother is from Monophrastos. And then Philemon says, Monophrastos, I might have guessed.
A question mark literally on Aisling's face, but she's not saying anything. Because she's quite hesitant about how much she really wants to talk about this. You know, personal stuff.
Amphion looks at you and he says, "You don't really know much about the place of your mother, do you?"
No.
Well, don't listen to anyone. I will tell you the truth. I have seen them.
Them.
The Monofrastians. You really know nothing, do you?
She's just trying to think. Her mother. Well, as you said, skin-wise and so on. She's not that far away from what I have seen here, except, well, woman-wise, we didn't have much options.
But she was also quite tall.
You mean that they're tall?
The women of Monofrastos are the most beautiful women in Chrysaea.
Well, her mother definitely was beautiful, at least in Ashling's eyes, and with all the past, I'm quite sure she definitely was a beautiful woman.
And of course the men. The strongest warriors in Chrysaea. 300 single-handedly held up the army of the Sea Masters, while the fleet attacked the Sea Masters before Thalassa and brought them down. If it hadn't been for the 300, Chrysaea would have fallen. Tough warriors.
Don't you have pretty women here? Maybe not as tall.
Our women stay in the house. But the women in Monofrastos, they will speak in the presence of men. And do you know why?
Because it's the right thing to do.
Spoken like a real Monofrastian woman. No, no, no. Once asked, the queen of Monofrastos, Gorgo, said, when she was told to be silent and how dare she speak in the presence of men, she said, because Monofrastian women are the only women that give birth to men. And the whole room fell silent, except for the Monofrastian men. They just laughed.
Aisling leans back a little bit and crosses her arms and just lets all of this sink in a little bit. So, do you know how long it is to travel to get?
Oh, that depends. I would say maybe 7 or 8 days till you reach the border. You see, they keep to themselves. You see, they still worship the old gods. They are very religious.
Gods?
Well, we have now 2 gods, the Nea Dea and her son. But not so the Monofrastians. They've always been very religious. You know, there is this one time when they didn't show up for a fight because they had to celebrate the feast day of their patron goddess.
Wise choice.
One might say so.
You don't
because the
wanna
gods
anger
were
the
with them.
gods.
No, and they won. So anyway, they're called Monofrastians because they don't speak much. Monofrastos means that's not what they call themselves. Monofrastos, that's what we call them. It means single word. But like I said, they are the most beautiful women in the world.
And what do you mean to the border?
Oh, their land is surrounded by mountains. The Taygetos Mountains. And on the other side, there's the Euphrates River. Between these two is Monofrastos. And beyond that mountain is where they keep all their slaves.
If Aisling would write like I do, it would be no. She would just. She would definitely frown. Slaves.
Of course. You really know nothing, do you? We all keep slaves. But the Monophrastians keep slaves for everything. You see, a long, long time ago, they were nearly extinct. A huge force, we don't know who. It's a story that is very old. No one remembers. But they were nearly killed by an invading force. So one of their kings decided that going forward, the men would only work at war. And the women would run the state. They would bear children and make sure that they would never run out of warriors. And in order to do this, men and women have to go to school. They learn how to read and write, and they spend a lot of time exercising, singing and dancing, running, wrestling, even the women. And the men spend 10 years learning how to be a warrior. And theirs is the worst force you could ever encounter. They are so fierce that some people don't even engage. They have driven away whole armies simply by showing up. And do you know what? As soon as they turn 18, the men stop shaving their hair. And it grows. Because they say, long hair makes an ugly man even more fear-inspiring, and a beautiful man even more handsome. But the women shave their heads. And so in order to even have wheat, they enslaved a whole nation.
Aisling would say nothing because honestly she has no words. The words she would utter would not be pretty. So she's just she would just sit. She would probably with a raised eyebrow. She would look at Siobhan, and Siobhan would know Aisling good enough that Aisling is not amused about anything that she hears here.
Siobhan keeps her counsel and keeps quiet. She's just listening.
Mm-hmm.
And then she of course looks at you and she knows you well enough to know what's going on. And then she says to Amphion, well, Amphion, if we wanted to go there, how would we go about it? Well, you just keep on this road and then you veer west. And then, because the road forks, if you turn east, you will go to Thalassa eventually. Don't go there. It's destroyed. And it's dark. But if you veer west and follow the road alongside the mountains, you will eventually get to where you want to go, to see your mother's family. I'm pretty sure that they would be very happy to meet you. You would fit right in.
I would not, but well.
Well, your eyes are different.
A lot more is different.
Siobhan then says, how about we just go to our room? It's late.
Yeah. Thank you for all the information.
Amphion gives you a really open and friendly smile, and Siobhan goes to Philemon behind the bar, and she exchanges a couple of words with him, and he nods, and then she takes you by the arm and she says, "Let's go. I've arranged to get some food later."
I think she would just follow without really. She's definitely in thoughts at the moment.
So it's actually a nice room. It's big enough, chair, little desk or table, and a bed. And she says, "So, what's going on?"
This feels like a very bad place to be.
Frisea.
Yes.
Well, it's different.
Keeping slaves, locking up women. I can't just smile and nod at this. This is wrong. And I know in our world it's different, but honestly...
There were slaves in Alba. You know that I would have ended up one if I hadn't taken the veil.
But it's wrong in our world as well.
Yes, that may be so.
The women here looks horrible. They're
Apparently
mistreating at least what I've seen.
What's on your mind? Do you want to go home?
It's an option. Because I'm honestly not sure I want to go there. I'm also honestly not sure if we even get help. We can't get help there, so...
Why not?
Language barrier, cultural barrier. I'm quite sure I will make someone angry within a day and either get stoned or killed for it or imprisoned. I can't just nod and smile, as I said. It's wrong. And I highly doubt I can keep it together the whole time.
But you would see family.
I don't know them. You are family.
She smiles.
The village we live in is family. These are people I know, I care about. These are all very weird people. This is not family.
Not yet.
I don't think it will be family.
Do you not think that your mother's family would like to meet you?
If they are still there.
Of course they would be. Why not?
You don't know what happened?
No, we don't. But I mean, chances are that yes.
I have also no idea if she really left in a happy, have a nice life way, or if anything happened. It might be that we are kicked out quicker than we can see. As we heard, they don't like strangers.
You're not a stranger.
You
am a stranger. Blood.
No.
Everyone. I mean, remember Xeroc's mother, she told you that you should go and seek your mother's people. You would find answers. She knows who you are. She felt that you had the sigil. She didn't even need to see it.
I'm just unsure if this was the right move.
It's funny because usually you're the one that is bold and adventurous, and I'm the one who tries to keep you back.
Thing is here, I know if I'm myself, the adventure will end quickly.
What makes you think so?
After everything we heard here, this is a very hostile world. And a world that we have no idea that every step we could take could be wrong. I'm fine now the nature. The nature is beautiful.
Then how about we just give this a try? We can, look, I think I understand the language problem. That is an issue. I agree. But maybe we will find a way around this. I could learn.
I can try as well, but let's just get sleep. And I think Aisling would just really curl up in bed and just turn around, stare, probably at the wall, depending on where the bed is, and just pull a blanket over her. Even though knowing she hasn't eaten, she doesn't care. And she will just curl up and I think shut down like a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because I don't know what she had in mind, but definitely not this.
Basically, Siobhan sits down on the bed next to you. She doesn't lie down yet, so you don't know. She basically starts writing in her journal, and then she starts humming.
Which will probably lead to Aisling falling asleep.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you fall asleep.
Yep.
And then after a while, you feel somebody tap, tap, tap you on the shoulder.
There will only be like a sound from Aisling.
Food. Your evening meal. Wake up. Or it'll all be gone.
Enjoy.
No.
And she will not move.
Now you hear that somebody is putting down some wood on wood, and she says, "What is going on?"
I just need rest. Tomorrow is another day.
Okay. So you go to sleep again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mind over body in this case.
Okay, good. So you do your thing where you basically just zone out and then you basically eventually fall asleep.
Yeah, she will be freaking hungry the next morning for sure, but I think she just really wants to try to force herself to sleep, not to deal with all of that is going on in her brain at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you do fall asleep. You do wake up after a while, but you notice that Siobhan is still sleeping, but the sun is already coming up.
I would just stay laying in bed, probably thinking about again.
Some point Siobhan wakes up. So, good morning.
Good morning. And
O hi mina morviena, o hi mina korviena, o hi mina karachen, hi mina skaren fojo, hi mi gondalan taches an trukuk mi, kerer oram feilches a chan en a hukas mi, jev mi an eigus gran rukem, nach rech ging tunich en or. O hi mina morviena, o hi mina korviena, o hi mina karachen, hi mina skaren foicho.